Hello, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? I am fine. Big news on gold. Times there. Send this to D. Yeah, I'll say that, Luke. 27.17 on its way to 3,500. BRICS next week. Just watch Mark McGuire. So this is big. 32.75 makes this go to 45. Now I was just watching on YouTube where Russia's announced they're buying the shit out of silver now. Probably because gold's getting too expensive, which is what we have already said. So at a point, gold will be too expensive. People will say, I can't buy it. Oh, shit, silver's 32 an ounce, or soon silver's 52 an ounce. And that's what's going to drive silver. It's still the fact that this is worth shit. Because this is worth shit, and because it's zero, what do I do with my money? I'm fucked if I just hold my money and do nothing. I'm fucked. It's like you go to the doctor. He says, well, you got diabetes. Well, you're fucked if you don't do anything. But if you say, hey, you know what, if I stop eating carbs and stop eating sugar and eat a lot of fruit and veggies, a lot of meat, a lot of protein, guess what? I'll heal myself because diabetes is too much sugar. So if I don't put sugar in, it's going to reduce it. A little bit of workout, a lot of water, stay away from pop. So it's the same thing here. I'm sick. The dollar's sick. So the only cure is to get out of it, stop eating it, and go to gold and silver, which we already know. And that's what we're doing. Hey, Pat. Yep, 27.17 gold. Happy day. Happy day. 27.17 going up at 10 o'clock. Where's the US down? I don't see it. 32.53. 32.75 is the sweet spot. Gets us to 45. I news that Russia's going to be buying the shit out of silver, and China's already doing it. I hear we can quickly head to 48. Well, because it's all derivatives, right? It's not free market. There's nothing stopping it. So if it hits 33, and then they keep buying it, there's nothing to stop it because it's a derivative. Nobody is selling gold or silver. So when you see the downs, it's not because of selling, it's the derivatives, which we understand. I think everybody understands now. I better stop fucking around shorting this stuff because all the central banks are buying it. And they're all getting killed. So be careful with that. So now we sit back and Luke, you count your little boxes and go, let's see, every $100 I make 100 grand. See, that's the thing with gold. You have 50 ounces. It went from 26 to 27. You made another $5,000, and they say it's not an investment. Now we're on our way to 2,800. We're on our way to 3,000, basically. So another $300. The times the 50 ounces you have is another $15,000 that nobody's even understanding that that's what's happening. So you want to sit in Bitcoin. You can make $15,000 in Bitcoin? No. Plus, this is real money. I don't have to sell it to have the money. And it's just going to go through the roof. Well, we're going to have over 50. It's eventually going to go to 100 very soon. Silver is going to moonshot. Russia is using silver purchase as a weapon. Yeah, well, so is China. Yeah. China's been keeping the silver price down by buying a ton of it. Now Russia's buying it. They understand it, and they probably see silver so cheap. They're going, fuck, how can we not buy silver now? And forget the industrial, it's money. Okay. The fact that it's in solar panels is one thing and in Tomahawk missiles, but it's money. And look for Russia to just clean it up. Um, well, believe me, Russia's not happy about getting sanctioned, or China, or there's like 80 countries being sanctioned by the US. What are they, out of their fucking minds? That's not how you play nice. Well, if you don't do this, I'm going to take my ball, and, that's it. Luke, I talked to my dad into shifting 100K into gold, silver miners yesterday. He wouldn't take out and buy physical, so best option. Otherwise, that's not the best option. The shorts are about to get wiped out. Yeah, well, we know that. Your dad needs to buy physical, Luke. The miners aren't going to help him. Even if they're not going to go up right now because there's no interest to buy them. You've got to buy the physical. Your friend with the $4 million, you should send him a Monopoly set and say, here's your money. This is what your money's worth. But you don't want your dad in miners. You want him in physical. Forget the paper shit, because the stock market's going to collapse, and so will the miners. This is not normal times. This is not like a regular Friday and the stock market's going up. Notice the stock market's at 43,000, and has miners gone up? No. It's all being price fixed by the Fed printing the money, putting it into Amazon and Tesla and all these bullshit stocks that aren't worth anything. And they're fucking around with you. But if you don't own those 5 or 6 stocks, they're not doing anything. If the gold and silver stocks aren't doing anything now, they're not going to do anything when the market collapses. Have them buy physical. Why doesn't he want physical? Well, the games, the shorts but there's you can see they're not, 27-18. The shorts are dying because they're losing their ass. You do a short, you're betting that the price goes down. Well, the price isn't going down. It goes down a little and then shoots up, because you got people in China and Russia and India going, every time it goes down, we're going to buy. And they're pounding the hell out of it for the BRICS meeting, the 22nd, which is 4 days from now. He has to pay taxes on the dollars to withdraw. Yeah, so all his money's in an IRA, and he doesn't want to pay taxes. Well, but he's not going to make any money the way he's doing it. There's gold IRAs, but I don't think you can take the physical, right? So I think that's the problem with it. But he needs to pay the tax, because he'll more than make up for it with the physical. He's got to buy some physical. I mean, I don't know what he's got. I'll be happy to talk to him or you about it, but he can't. It's okay to pay the tax. You don't owe the tax right now. And the problem is, if you don't pay the tax, it's going to be worthless. The stock market is going to collapse. His money will be worthless. So is that better than paying taxes, having no value at all when he could have had it in physical? He needs, I don't know what he's got. He moved 100 grand. That's not good what he did. You don't want to be in stocks. It sounds good, but you want to be physical. You got to pay the tax. I don't know how much the tax is, but believe me, he'll make it up. When gold goes from 2,700 to 3,000, that paid the tax. Plus, I'm sure he gets some profit in it. Plus, he has something that he owns. Market will not survive this. So he needs to put some money into physical. He has to pay tax. Yeah, okay, I get it. Well, the shorts are just these bullion banks trying to make money on derivatives, but they're all going to get their ass kicked. Anyway, that's what's going on. It's 27.18, 32.56 in silver. What a happy day. All right. Yesterday, Professor has New Orleans, and I go plus 3.5 as opposed to I like the under in the game, but with what happened with Rattler last time, I said let's not fuck around. Denver's going to win, and what I liked about Denver is they blitzed the hell out of Rattler. I mean, it was just they'd line up 9 guys and come at him, and he didn't know what to do. I didn't see the game because I don't have whatever the fuck Prime or whatever, and I'm not going to buy it. 33-10 Denver. I got 3.5. And over under was 37. You could have went under 43, which was a push. Instead, we get the win. Learning from last week where I'm betting under and these guys are throwing the ball 50 times. The coaches, this New Orleans coach has his head so far possessed. He finally brings Jake Hayner in, who's the much better quarterback. He throws a touchdown late to get to 10. But you've got to be kidding. You cannot just – you got Kamara on your team. What are you doing with Rattler? So we've got that winner. I have now put my pros out there. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 locks. I got 4 locks placed, and I got a lock with a lock, but I didn't call it a lock. I also have a couple other plays. 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 4 other. I got 2 other teasers, so 4 more. Besides the lock, and I have Denver yesterday with a lock, one of the locks this weekend. And that's what we got. So those are posted. And what are you waiting for, fellas? You got to buy gold and silver now. You got to buy it this weekend before it gets too high. All right. Yesterday in college, I didn't play anything. Marshall wins 35-20. I did like the game over. And then VTech BC, I did like the game over. I didn't play it. It was over 48, only 42. They win 42-21. Marshall wins 35-20. But again, no play. And now we got tonight's game. So let's look at tonight. Tonight we got Duke 41.5 against Florida State. Oregon 28.5, 60.5 to Purdue. BYU, there is an 8.5 and then 9.5 and 52.5. BYU against Oak State. And Nevada Fresno State. Fresno State is 2.5 and a total of 49.5. Mikey Keene. That's today's college. Nothing today in the pros, obviously. Pros are Sunday, and then that Sunday morning game, Jacksonville, and then the rest of the 2 Monday night games for some reason. All right. Feel free to ask the econ questions, but from what I can gather, BRICS will announce gold back currency on Tuesday. It's pretty much there. They're all buying gold. Now they're all buying silver. They have to because the U.S. is trying to bankrupt Russia with the war continuing to go on because it costs Russia money to fire the missiles and the bombs and the everything. They got to feed the army. Armies are very expensive. There's no revenue in it. I guess unless the prize is the gold or the oil, and then you win and you get it if that's what happens. So it's just costing Russia a lot. They have to go on the gold. So does China, and the U.S. doesn't have any money to play war, and they keep playing. And apparently there are soldiers, U.S. soldiers there. I don't know what for. And anyway, it's not good. So again, that creates it, but we should see it. Now, I don't know how it'll be announced because it ain't going to be announced on CNBC and, Fox and all that. We'll have to look for it on YouTube, these little, the Mark McGuire's, the Egons. But it really doesn't matter because our goal is the dollar going down, the dollar being worthless, and everybody buying gold and silver. So really what we're banking on is the dollar going down because these idiots keep printing it. And the fact that the demand for gold and silver is huge, forcing the price up and killing the derivative markets. Shanghai is the ones that are now trying to price it in physical. So we're just looking at all that. So we might hit 2,800 today. I mean, it's 2720, 2718, and it could. Well, no, the market closes at like 6 o'clock. Now, one note on I thought my interview, the invite said 7:30 to 8:30, but when I read it, in the middle, it says, no, the interview is 1:30 to 2:30. So she didn't change the title, but I asked her, is it 7:30 or 1:30? And she said, no, it's 1:30. So my interview is 1:30 to 2:30 with Teaserking, financial analyst job. And so class will be tonight, $25 college, $25 pro. Will be our normal 7 to 8 private on YouTube. 7 to 8 will be college, and 8 to about 8:30 will be pros. There's really no, there's so few games. It's just a half hour. Basically go through the games, my analytical view, and then my picks, my locks, whatever I got. So you'll see that. So again, I thought that was strange to have a 7:30 interview. I've never had a night interview. I think I've had once a Saturday interview, but normally it's work hours because the guy's working. He's not going to stay till 7:30 to interview me. So anyway, I think it's with the VP of Finance. So that'll be 1:30 to 2:30. So I'm doing this now, and then maybe I'll come back with a little economics to see where the gold's at and anything I see with bricks. I did watch Mark McGuire already. And then we'll do the college and pro class 7 to 8 and 8 to 8:30 roughly. The one guy who wanted to learn how to pick is very immature and rude and doesn't respond to, are we still on, or do you not want to do it, or be a fucking man and just say, I'm not interested, or whatever your point is. You can't handle the $25. Then I don't, what am I going to do? I can't work with you if that's too much for you. But I hate impolite, unprofessional people who can't communicate and say, look, Howard, I can't make it, or, not interested, or something happened. I'm ill, whatever it is. Be a fucking man and talk to me. Don't, because I don't know. Do you want the class tonight? I don't know. So stop fucking around. Be a man, and this is how you do business. You got a doctor's appointment. You just don't show up, and you don't call, and you must be great on dates. Oh, I gotta date this girl. Oh, yeah, I'm scared. So I guess I won't call her. I just won't show up. I'm sure that'll make her feel good. What a fucking idiot. I hate people like that, right? They're vampires and they get what they deserve. So he doesn't get to learn. Doesn't bother me. I already know all this shit, right? Okay, let's go to the lines. We got Army. There's a 15.5 and a 51.5 to East Carolina, who's not a bad team. How good is Army? The question I have with Army is they beat a lot of bad teams, so they look really good. East Carolina is an E team, so they're okay. They're better than like Temple and some of these weak teams they've beaten. Not that East Carolina can beat them, but just be aware that, is Army really that good? Well, who have they? If you look at who they've beaten, it's not like they've beaten Washington or USC or somebody like that. So keep that in. Indiana 6.5, 49.5. They're the A team. They are very strong. Now, the best team they beat was at UCLA. Then they beat Maryland. So they've beaten some very decent teams. Nebraska's strong defense. Rayola, we got to see. They're a good team. I'm not sure how good, so I'm kind of at a loss. They have an 11 defense. Indy's with the 15 defense. So Indy's an A. Nebraska's a B. You got to love the coach at Indy from James Madison. So this will be a good test for Indy to see what they do against a good defensive team. Rutgers 4.5, 41 to UCLA. Rutgers is an E team. UCLA a W team. UCLA's problems, they're only getting 280 yards a game, and they got a 29 defense. Part of that's because Indiana beat them by 50 points, but you still have to do. Now, Rutgers got blown out by Wisconsin last week. I was watching the game. It was pretty close until late in the fourth quarter. There was a couple of turnovers. It was like 28-7. So I look for Rutgers to bounce back here. They got a good coach. They're too good of a team to just get blown out. Lou Lafayette, 4.5, 57.5 to Coastal Carolina. Lou Lafayette's a B team. Coastal Carolina's an over with a 31 defense. So we'll see what happens. Again, the grade. Cincinnati, 4.5, 50.5 to Arizona State. Was 6.5. But it went from 49 to 50, so that makes no sense. Cincinnati, I've been betting, cleaning up on this year. Arizona State's not bad. They got a good running attack, good coach. They're a B, 23 defense. Cincy with the 20. Cincy 450 yards. Arizona State 405. So how does Cincinnati handle the defense of Arizona State and the running attack of Arizona State? And that's the key to the game. So we got to look at Cincinnati against other strong teams. And since they play in the Big 12, we should see a Baylor or Texas Tech, or if they played any of those teams, did they beat them? But I think they're undefeated. No, they lost to Pittsburgh. They blew a 27-7 lead. Clemson, 21, 57.5. To Virginia. They've been scoring lights out the last few weeks after losing to Georgia. They beat Florida State by like 27-13. Virginia's been playing a little bit better. Should be a good game here. UConn, 1.5, 56.5 to Wake. Wake Forest is an over team with the 34 defense, and UConn's actually a B team with the 22 defense. UConn's actually the better team here, and I think the line's low. I think if it wasn't saying UConn and if it was just saying Syracuse, they'd be a 7-point favorite. So we'll see. But UConn actually can win this game, I think. They're not a Z team. They're a B team. You must understand that. Missouri, 450 to Auburn. Auburn, I don't know. They're decent. Missouri should be very good. Brady Cook's the quarterback's very good coach. Their defense is a 15 defense. Vanderbilt put up 28 on them, put up 40 on Alabama, and then we got Auburn, they're a 21 defense. They're just not scoring. I think Missouri should win, but the way they've been playing, I don't know. Yeah, they beat UMass last week, whoop-de-doo. So this will be a good test for them. Auburn, pretty good defense. Played Georgia fairly well. We'll see. Louisville, Miami. Miami, 5-60. I'm sorry, Miami is 5-60. Miami's favored. Should be a good game. Miami, an 18-19 defense, 500 yards a game. Louisville, an A team, 20 defense, 450 yards a game. I got a feeling that this is going to be points in this game. I just think, Miami went to Cal and it was 38-37 or something. And Louisville, good quarterback in Shaw from Texas Tech. They lost to Notre Dame in a close one by 7. I don't see them getting blown out by Miami. They could easily win the game. This is a toss-up, and then so then we look at the totals. Northwestern, Wisconsin. Wisconsin 7.5, 51.5, or 41.5. Northwestern, an under team with a 19 defense, 300 yards of offense. Wisconsin, a B team, 20 defense, 400 yards of offense. Found a running back, looked pretty good against Rutgers. He was running down their throat. I don't know if he played in the USC game and just didn't show up or what. Now, against Rutgers, it was close. They pulled away at the end. But Northwestern's just kind of weak. They don't score a lot, and they got a 19 defense. So Wisconsin with the 20. So you don't think Northwestern's going to score. It's how much does Wisconsin do? The quarterback looks okay since Van Dyke went out. He's got a few games under his belt, and I think they're going to run it down their throat. So it could be an Army-Navy game. 41.5 is a bit low, but no, Northwestern's probably not going to score too much here. Oklahoma, South Carolina. Oklahoma 1.5, 41.5. Very interesting. I think South Carolina is the better team. Oklahoma needs a quarterback. They have a good defense. South Carolina with a pretty good defense. The quarterback's okay. He's not great, the freshman. 20 defense, South Carolina, 19 for Oklahoma. Oklahoma getting killed by Texas last week. How do they react to that? I don't like their coach. I think he's in way over his head. He's going with the running, athletic, dual quarterbacks instead of a real quarterback. I don't think he's got an offense in mind, and his defense isn't that good. So Oklahoma won't score. It's just what will South Carolina do? So interesting game there. I wouldn't be surprised if South Carolina wins the game. I'd be surprised if Oklahoma wins, to tell you the truth. South Carolina played Alabama 27-25. Eastern Michigan 3.5, 54.5 to Central Michigan. This is down from 56. They're both over teams. 29 defense for Central, 25, 350 yards a game, roughly. So I know Central's usually scores a lot, and the defense never shows up. Eastern, we'll see. But like I said, 2 over teams. We'll have to check the quarterbacks and stuff. Temple 3, 52.5 to Tulsa. Temple's actually favored, even though they're a Z team. This game has Tulsa W team, 37 defense, 360 yards a game. Temple with a 36 defense and only 317 yards a game, and yet Temple's favored. Are you kidding me? Right away, it's like take Tulsa as a dog against Temple. How can Temple be favored? So I got to look at this. Maybe it's an over because the defenses are so shitty, but the offenses are shitty. That's why they're Z and W teams. So I don't know. We'll have to look at this one. Again, I'm a little bit with the time change and the being on the airplane. I kind of lost analyzing Wednesday. And then yesterday I was very tired. Today I feel good, and I should be able. I've already posted all the pros. Like I said, 4 locks and 4 other good plays. I mean, I could lock 8 games, but I only locked 4. But I gave you your free play, so it's a Cincinnati. I mean, that's the way the week is. Cincinnati, Kansas City's a dog. You're like, what a happy day, those lines. So you just go with that. Pro, I got much easier. I got down. That's it. I'm locked in. College, I still got to check some of these. Do I take Tulsa against Temple? Do I really get Tulsa at 9.5? So I got to research those games. The big ones I know: Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee. We got those. Northern Illinois 344 to Toledo. Line hasn't moved. Toledo's actually the A team. A little surprised Northern Illinois' favorite, I guess, because it's at home. 21 defense. Toledo 17th for Northern Illinois. They both get about 350 a game. Interesting game. USF, South Florida against UAB, Alabama, Birmingham. South Florida 13.5, 57.5. One of the weaker UAB teams. This is a W for both. Normally South Florida is an over team, and UAB could be an A or a B team, but not this year. UAB no defense, 38 defense. South Florida 31. 381 yards, and South Florida 320. They're not running the way they should. Usually it's the quarterback's fault. So we will see here. No hurricane to worry about this week, thank God. So, UAB, I don't think they're a live dog here with the 38 defense. You don't really want to be betting the team. So it's just, is it an over or an under? Again, you have no offense and no defense, so they score a lot of points. Usually they do. Usually it's a 60, and you're like, how did they score? And then you look at the defenses. UTSA 6.5, 51.5 to Florida Atlantic. This was 4.5. UTSA shot up to 6. Well, it was 6.5, went to 4.5. Now it's back to 6.5. Vegas fucking around with us, and the total is 51.5. Down from 53. Florida Atlantic's an E team, 27 defense. UTSA is a W team with a 31 defense. I don't know. I got to see the schedule. I think this is a live dog for Florida Atlantic. Michigan, 44.5 to Illinois. 44.5. So this has slowly been climbing from 41 to 43. Now it's 44.5. Michigan 4. A lot of that is Jack Tuttle, the new quarterback who was injured, is supposed to be the quarterback. And now he came in against Washington and moved the team a little against Washington. This is Illinois. Illinois is a B team. Now Michigan, are they an under team? Well, with this quarterback, that's where you've got to understand. Maybe they're not an under team. That's really the key to it. They're an under team with the other quarterback, but this is why you got to look at box scores and try to analyze the new quarterback going, oh, wait, this is a really, like with Van Dyke and Rising, when I first discovered them a couple of years ago, they were under teams. They switched quarterbacks and they're putting up 40 a game. They're not an under team. I moved to an over team. Vegas didn't. The lines are still 43, 44, and I'm making a fortune betting them over. And that's what you got to look at. So Michigan is probably not an under team with Tuttle. Should they be laying for 22 defense, Illinois with a 20? I don't know what happened against Purdue, 50 to 49. The yardage are, Illinois 377, Michigan is going to be higher than 339. But does this automatically make Michigan a stronger team? I don't know. They do have 2 losses now, Texas and Washington. How they beat USC, they should never have done it. Bad coaching by USC. I don't like Michigan's coach. I don't know. Maybe with Tuttle, they're better. Is he that good? He was at Indiana. He wasn't that good. And Illinois is a home dog. They blew the Penn State game on a bad snap. They did win at Nebraska. So, I think Illinois can win here. But I think it's a different Michigan team, and I think that's why the number's going up on the under. All of a sudden, Michigan can throw the ball, and they can run, and Illinois is a good offense. So, yeah, you could probably maybe go over in the game, but, we'll see what Michigan does with this quarterback. Navy, 16.5, 57 to Charlotte. Charlotte's a W. Navy's playing great. 20 defense, Charlotte with the 32, Navy 460 yards a game. Most of it's running, of course. Charlotte 302. Go Navy, beat Army. Miami, Ohio, 3.5, 44. We've got, they're both under teams. Miami is a 22. Ohio's a 23. 350 yards a game. How good's the quarterback? I have to look, but they're both unders. Excuse me. So what do you do with two unders? Maybe you bet them under. The thing with the over-unders, it's the kickoff return, punt returns, quarterback gets sacked, fumble recoveries, pick sixes. The non-offensive touchdowns are what ruins an under in a game like this. So that's your risk. Texas State, 9.5, 61.5, the old D. Texas State, we know we love the quarterback McLeod, over team, 22 defense. There's really an A team, 22 defense, 472 a game. Old Dominion's an E team, 28 defense, 342 a game. So should be a good game. Here's your free play. Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, Notre Dame, 10:51. Oh, since I announced it as a free play, it went from 12.5 to 10 pretty quickly. News travels when the professor gives a free game, huh? Okay. 10 and 50.5. I love it. My score, 24-20 Notre Dame. The spread's 10. You're getting now, if you got it yesterday at 18, I did. Otherwise, it's 16, which is still plenty. A 12 defense, Notre Dame. I'm not buying they're that good. And G-Tech at 21, which is about right. 428 yards. I love King, the quarterback, so much better than Riley Leonard. Don't like the coach in Notre Dame, the offensive coordinator. Okay, yeah, they beat Stanford. Whippy. Have a party. Georgia Tech, on the other hand, beat North Carolina, and they moved the ball. They're a very good team. They're a very good dog, and you got them at home. You got them as a home dog. This is Notre Dame. This is not Alabama or Georgia or LSU, apparently, or Texas or Oregon. This is Notre Dame, and Notre Dame is not elite right now. They're a decent team. They had a big game against Stanford. Whip the fucking do. This spread's way high. My spread on this is 6 Notre Dame, and I still was going to take Georgia Tech. So here's your free play. Georgia Tech, a very live dog. Probably will win the game, or it'll be a field goal game where they're kicking at the end or something. Go Tech. Beat Army. Alabama and Tennessee. What do we do here? Alabama 3 and 57. Total is going up. Alabama has scored 40 points a game in every game but the Vanderbilt game. They only got 35. And last week they got 27 against the rough South Carolina team. Rivalry game, third week of that. This is the game Peyton Manning lost every time. I loved it. No, he lost to Florida every time, but I'm sure he didn't do well against Alabama. Alabama, I have as an over team. Really, they're an A team, but that's the whole year. The last 3 weeks, they've given up over 35 a game. Georgia, 35, Vandy, 40, and last week, 25. The fucking Southern Miss. They are South Carolina. This is not a Nick Saban defense. So now we're starting to focus in the binoculars, and we see Alabama score 40 a game, give up 30 a game. Wait a minute. That's not Alabama that I know. They've changed. They got DeBoer. You must pay attention. He was explosive at Washington, but his defense wasn't an 8 or a 9. It was a 20 defense there. Tennessee, I don't know what they are. I got them as an A team with the 10 defense. I don't buy the 10 defense. 430 yards a game, Alabama 440. So do we smell what Tennessee's cooking? I don't think we do. I think we look at it and we're confused by it. We're going, well, wait a minute. I don't buy the 10. They beat Florida 23-17 in overtime. So Florida got 17 on them. They don't have anywhere near the offense of Alabama. Very interesting game. Um, I think Alabama wins because of their offense. I think Tennessee, I don't know. The freshman quarterback was great against NC State, and where's he been the last few weeks? So he's gone back to volleyball, I think. I love it. You take a volleyball player and try to make him a quarterback. Yeah, how's that going to work? I think Tennessee's got problems at quarterback. Um, I'll be shocked if Alabama loses the game. And I'll be shocked if it's low scoring. Let's put it that way. Now, I haven't made a pick yet, or if I have made a pick, I haven't posted it yet. I'm still debating what to do with it. And this is where I get caught in my own vicious cycle is, well, Tennessee's a 10 team. So let's analyze. Let's go into the professor's mind. Alabama, Tennessee. I'm going to hit matchup. So I'm pulling the curtain back. So Alabama, the last 4 weeks, beat Georgia 42-10, or beat Wisconsin 42-10, Georgia 41-34, lose to Vanderbilt 35-40, and beat South Carolina 27-25. So every game's been at least 52 points. Georgia 70, Vanderbilt 70, and South Carolina 52. Well, we know Melrose. He's good. He did struggle last week against South Carolina, 1 touchdown and 2 picks. Well, let's see what Tennessee's going to do. So it's on Alabama. So now I'm going to hit Tennessee. And let's look at their last 4. Well, hard to look at their last 4. Kent State, 71-0. This is where you get fucked. They beat Chattanooga 69-3 and Kent 71-0. You go, oh, they're an explosive team. They're an over team. And then they beat NC State 51-10. And then reality sets in. So we ignore those 3. We go to the last 3. Oklahoma, they win 25-15. They lose to Arkansas 19-14, and then they beat Florida 23-17 in overtime. So it's 17-17. So 25-14 and 17 the last 3 weeks against SEC teams, Oklahoma, Ark, and Florida. Florida's not that good. Ark's pretty good, and Oklahoma's got a good defense. So now now let's do the last 3 weeks. They scored 25, 20, and 23, 48 and 20, 68. So they're scoring roughly 23 points a game, and they're giving up 15, 14, and 17. So now they're like, let's call it a 16. So they're a 23-16. Makes Tennessee not an A team, but an under team. Because we got to throw out this bullshit Kent and Chattanooga, 69-3 and 71-0 don't exist in the SEC. So we're looking at a team that basically scores 50. Let's call it 20. They're 23 and 17, which puts them at an under. Which now let's call it a 17. So I'm taking the 10 out. Alabama, because they played real teams. And now do we like the over or under better? Now do we like Alabama better or worse, knowing that, wait a minute, Tennessee can't score. They're not an over team. They're not going to put up 71 like they did on Kent. They're likely to put up 25 on Oklahoma, 14 on Arkansas, 23. They're going to probably score in the 20s. They're at home. They'll be pumped up. It's Alabama, who apparently doesn't have that great of a defense. They're giving up 35 a game. So it's hard to play Alabama with their kind of weak defense. But Tennessee doesn't score. Let's look at Tennessee's quarterback the last 3 weeks. So here it gives quarterback stats. All right. So if we look at the last 3, what's his name? Imela Villa. All right. 13-21 against Oklahoma, 1 touchdown, 194 yards. What did Texas do to Oklahoma last week? I got to look at those stats. Against Arkansas, 17-29 for a whopping 158 yards, which I know A&M put up more than that. And last week he was 16-26 with an interception, 169 yards. Now, is he running? this could be what's happening. He's running more. Let's check injuries, but I doubt they'll show anything because there's September 14th still. They haven't updated anything, so injuries are useless to look at. So the question comes into, is Tennessee running the ball? Because they're certainly not passing the ball. All right, so I'm going to go to my spreadsheet. Hold on one second. And it's going to tell me. So I go to the SEC. And what the fuck's going on? I got Tennessee throwing for 201 yards a game, which includes the bullshit games, running for 246. So they are a balanced team and run 447, which does keep the score down if they're running a lot. And Alabama 41-20. Milrose 12 touchdowns for Vila 7-3. Both sacked 11 times. Bama 247 throwing and 179 passing. So they both did about 430 yards a game. We know Alabama can run, but with Milrose, they're going to throw. Villa is only thrown for 7 touchdowns, and they played some pretty shitty teams. But when he gets in against the big boys, he's not throwing the touchdowns, but they are running for 246. So we do see what's going on. So Tennessee is becoming more of a running team. So it's not like it's just dependent on the passing, which does tend to make for an under game. However, if Alabama and Milrose goes wild, Tennessee's going to have to throw, which should open the game up. So my deductive reasoning there says, well, we got 57, so we need a 51. Let's pick a score. Alabama scores 35 on Georgia and Vanderbilt and 27 last week because he threw 2 interceptions. So you got to figure Alabama in the 30s. And they got a 30 defense, not a 20 defense, not a 21. And then now we just saw Tennessee's a 17 defense in SEC play, and this is an SEC game. You're not playing Kent. This is where the whole analytical part of the college game really fucks you, because if you look at the total, you throw in Kent State and this other bullshit team, but you've got to differentiate out the conference play. Let's look at them in SEC. They're not scoring, and their defense is not a 7 because there's a shutout and a 3 in there. Well, take those out. It's Kent State and whoever, a high school team. So now they're really a 17. Okay. So now it's Alabama's probably a 30 and Tennessee's a 17. Tennessee doesn't score much in conference play. The guy's a freshman. He doesn't know what he's doing. Can Alabama stop the run? Well, we saw them stop it against Georgia, but Georgia's not Georgia. Vanderbilt ran with our buddy Dayo Pavia, ran all over them, which Tennessee does have the running quarterback. So this is a very interesting. I think it probably gets 30-20, which is a 50, and you need 51. So it's somewhere in that neighborhood. Very interesting game here. It's very tough. You love Alabama to beat a dog, but you don't have that. I cannot trust Tennessee. They're not scoring. They barely beat Florida when we saw Miami put up 100 on them. So this becomes a very do we want Alabama in 3? Are they going to lose? Normally I'd say no, but with this defense, they lost to Vandy and they barely beat South Carolina. So I could say Tennessee at home. I think the coach knows he's got to throw the ball more. He's a good offensive coach. So I think they score more. So my my gut, my INFJ says go over on the game. Alabama in the 30s. I think Tennessee gets in the 30s. I know they haven't been scoring, but I think here they have to, and they know it. And Alabama's defense is not a 10, it's a 30. And I can't bet a 30 under, and I can't trust the 30 defense to win the game. So I think you go over on the Alabama Tennessee. Now, this isn't a pick, this isn't a free pick. I haven't played this game yet. I'm still figuring it out, but I think I kind of figured it out, which is what I like to do in class. This really helps me really look at the games. All right. So Ella fucking Bama, they could lose the game, but I think it's going to be some points. I think it's a rivalry game. They're going to get, how serious were they against South Carolina? But we saw them against Georgia, and they came to play, and I think that's what you're going to see here. And I think Tennessee comes to play as a home dog. Look out. So this should be points here. If this game's 20-17, I'm really no, they're not holding Milrose down. They don't really have the defense to. They played Arkansas well, but Florida got 17 on them, and they lost. No, they didn't lose to Kentucky. Ole Miss did, but they just they're giving up about 20. Well, what is it? About 17 a game. So we saw Ohio State, Oregon, and I think that's what you're going to look at here. Tennessee will find a way to score. Okay. Tulane, 22-53 to Rice. Tulane's an A team. We love Tulane. Rice sucks, basically. Kurt Warner's kid's on it, hasn't done shit. Tulane, the explosive A team, 22 defense, Rice at 27. Here I believe it because if they do play the Alabamas, Tulane played Oklahoma. And so then you keep their place because they play in conference, but then when they go play Oklahoma, you're not taking anything away. It's when Oklahoma plays Southfield Lathrop High School that you're like, yeah, we can't count that one. So look for Tulane, the A team. 22 is a big number, 53.5. Rice with the 27 defense. This will be a tough one. Tulane wins, but do they cover? That's obviously the question. Western Michigan, 149 to Buffalo. Spreads move from 47.5 to 40. We'll call it 49. Western's an over team. Buffalo's an under team. 35 defense for Western, which is why they're an over team. Buffalo with the 23. Buffalo only gets 264 a game, 367. They did beat Northern Illinois. Then they got killed by somebody. I don't remember who I was shocked by. So an interesting game here. I think the only way you can play it's over or take Buffalo as a home dog. But interesting game here. Kansas, 5.5, 46 to Houston. 46. You keep writing it over, you can't see the number, right? Houston, the under team, but I think they switched quarterbacks and they're playing a little better, still with the 20 defense. Played Oklahoma 16-12. Tulane, I think lost 29-15 or something to them. Kansas has been playing better. Daniels sucked, but he's getting better. He was their starting quarterback, got hurt. Missed 2 years, and Bean looked very good. And then now he's back without Bean, who's on, I think he's on Indy. Should be there starting instead of, they got to go to Joe Flacco, and you got Bean. Coach doesn't know what he's doing. The coach doesn't understand how good they were in college. So they go, well, he hasn't played. I don't know what I got. You do know what you got. And that's my whole point with the Lions. You've got Hooker put up 50 on Alabama. You know what you got. Stop fucking around and put him in. You know what you got with Golf. He's a choke. He's always been a choke. So you either stay with the choke and lose, or you go to the guy who beat Alabama. But they don't want to do it because they're fucking idiots. So this is the problem with the coaching. It's the worst coaching I've ever seen in my life in the NFL. Kansas, they're an E team, 26 defense. Houston and under with the 20. They don't get it. So it's could be an under game. It's hard to say. Kansas is starting to score. Houston switch quarter. It's the quarterback switch that gets you. oh, they're an under team. They switch quarterbacks, and Joe Montana comes in, and well, why wasn't Joe Montana playing? And then they put up 50 points, and you get blown out of your under. So just be careful of the quarterback switchings. Bowling Green, 20.5, 54.5 to Kent. Clark Kent. Kent, the Z team with the 49 defense. Jesus Christ. Bowling Green's an E team. They're the ones who played Penn State pretty good, Texas A&M pretty good, and then lost to like Northern Illinois or somebody. Bowling Green, 361. Kent, only 209 yards. Still put up a big number against, I don't know who they played, another Z team last week. Bowling Green, 24. Bowling Green should beat them. They're laying 21. Bowling Green, I don't know. They're not playing the way what they should be. Washington State, 1955 to Hawaii. Washington State's an over team with a 30 defense. Hawaii's an under team. Haven't really scored at all this year against anybody. 20 defense. Their defense has been pretty good. They held Boise 28-7 last week. 346 to Washington State, 452. Washington State did beat Washington. They're a pretty good team. I don't know their 30 defense, what happened there, but they're pretty explosive, and I don't see Hawaii doing anything. Even against the 30 defense, Boise had a pretty weak defense, but I knew the running back was going to run it down their throat, and he ran for 250 yards. So we'll see. Cal, NC State. Cal, 10, 46.5 to NC State. NC State, a 32 defense. Cal, an 18. NC State's been getting blown out by everybody. Cal had Miami 38-20 and let it go, and they lost 39-38 or 38-37 at home. This is at home. NC State's got to fly cross country. Wonderful. Moving the Pac-10 teams into the Eastern Conference is really a genius move. Who the fuck is that? Is that stupid to do that? What was wrong with the Pac-10? They're all Pacific teams versus here's the Atlantic teams. So we got NC State going cross country, which gives Cal a huge edge. Cal with an 18 defense, NC State with the 32. Yeah, Cal should win the game. It's what did they cover or not? Texas Tech, Baylor. Interesting game. Baylor switched quarterbacks to Robertson. He looks much better. Worst coach in the history of life with his prevent defense. That is the stupidest prevent defense I've ever seen in my life. Texas Tech, 6.5, 55.5. Really hasn't moved. Baylor at 24 defense, Texas Tech at 32. Explosive Texas Tech, good quarterback, and they have a great running back. So it's a lot like Boise, this Texas Tech. They've been putting up big numbers. Let's check this one out. I want to see, do I bet Baylor or do I bet over? So let's see. Baylor loses to Iowa State 43-21, BYU 34-28, 38 to Colorado. Air Force 31-3, but Air Force doesn't have anything. Utah and then Tarkington State. So let's look at the last three. You gave up 38 to Prime. Now, it was 24 if you would have played prevent defense, then 34 to BYU. Great defense, and 43. So they're giving up a ton. So Tech should win the game. They've been scoring. So they scored 21 on Iowa State, which is huge, and 28 on BYU. So they're going to score in the 20s. Texas Tech's going to get into the 30s. That's a 50, and the total is 55. So there you go. So it should be a higher scoring game. I think Texas Tech wins it, but Baylor's capable. They have a good offense. They just have a shitty coach. Let's look at the quarterback play. Robertson's looking pretty good, and Tech's got Morton, who's really good. So it amazes me why they're not drafting more Texas Tech quarterbacks. Why do they keep going to Alabama and Ohio State and this USC crap? And here, these Texas Tech quarterbacks. Oh, yeah, a guy named Mahomes. Oh, yeah, he went to Texas Tech. Look at this Morton. Shaw in Louisville is a Texas Tech quarterback. The second stringer goes and starts, Shaw goes to Louisville and they're top 10 team. So I don't get it. Texas has great quarterbacks, and nobody seems to draft them. Even Mahomes was a mistake. Ended the first round, didn't play the year, and he's one of the top quarterbacks. Like, yeah, why are you surprised? He went to Texas Tech. Just unbelievable. USC 7.5, 56.5 to Maryland. Where the hell am I? Okay. USC 7.5, 56.5 line hasn't moved. Maryland's an E team, 24 defense, usually an over type of team. They score, and their defense usually is not that good. USC has to travel to the East Coast again. You lost to Minnesota and Michigan traveling to the East Coast, but here you get the extra hour flight to Maryland. USC's a 21 defense, Maryland a 24. This is 56.5. Oof. So 24 defense, Maryland, 21 USC, 425 yards apiece. So there's plenty of offense here. 56.5. God, seems like a low number, doesn't it? USC, okay, against LSU 27-20. Against Michigan 24-27. Michigan didn't even have their quarterback. Wisconsin, they beat 38-21 at home. They go to Minnesota and lose 24-17. And then Penn State 33-30. Their receiver ran wild, but their defense didn't show up. So they're back to last year's defense. So if we look at the last four, they're giving up 60, 80, 100. They're giving up 25, 26 points a game. Let's change that from 21 to 26 because it's got Utah State in there 48-0, but it's pretty close to what their defense is. And offensively, let's see, they scored 24, 38, 17, and 30. How they only score 17 against Minnesota? Jesus. Mostly 30, though. 38 on Wisconsin, 24 on Michigan, and 30. So they're going to be in the 30s here. That's about what I got. Maryland. How the fuck did Maryland lose 37-10 to Northwestern? Oh my God. 28. Okay. Indiana killed them. That's no surprise. 42-28. Villanova, what are they doing in there? Virginia, Michigan State, and Connecticut. Beating Connecticut 50-7 looks impressive now. Michigan State, they lost 27-24. They lost to Indiana 42-28 and lost to Northwestern. How the fuck do you lose to Northwestern like that? Edwards is the quarterback. What the hell? 28 of 51 with no touchdowns against Northwestern. Really? He was 26 of 41 with 3 touchdowns against Indiana. Something's wrong here. All right. So Edwards is there. He's all right. Let's see. We know. What do we do with this team? They gave up 42 to a really strong Indiana team. 27 to a not strong Michigan State team. And 37 to Northwestern. What the fuck was that all about? Holy shit. So I got to believe this game, I don't know, 56.5 seems kind of low to me. Maryland does not have a defense. So if we look at the last 4, not counting Villanova, it's a 13, a 42, and a 37. So 79, 80, 92 is a 30 defense. Let's make Maryland a 30 defense, not this 24. All of a sudden, we got a 26 defense against a 30 defense. 2 good offenses. Yeah, this turns into a very quick overtime. 56, we only need 50. All right. Seems awful low. Again, they're looking at the Northwestern game where they didn't score. Like, what happened in that game? Our friends James Madison, 9.5, 58.5 to Georgia Southern. Over team Georgia Southern, 31 defense, 338. James Madison, the A team, they're the ones who beat North Carolina 70-50. A 16 defense. although they gave up 50 to North Carolina. 440 offense versus Georgia Southern, 338. That's a tough one. It's at Georgia Southern. They're a decent team. They've scored against some teams. James Madison, after the 70, put up a 63 and then put up a 20. So not consistent. Good quarterback. Yeah, it's an interesting. I don't know. Do you like James Madison laying 3.5 against Georgia Southern, or do you like over 58 going to 52? That is the question, right? All right, Arizona 2.5, 358 to prime time. Prime time's a B with the 24 defense. Arizona, they just beat UCF. Arizona has struggled, although they somehow beat Utah, but that's without Cam Rising, who's gone for the year. So we're not going to talk Cam Rising this year. Arizona with the 27 defense. Fafita, we like. Over under of 58. It's another one of these over-unders in the 50s. And I love these over-unders. And I love the 50 totals. 55, 56. You can go under 60, 61, and you can go over 50. And most games are right in that area. And, you're not laying 78 and you're not doing in the 36s with Iowa. So it's a really good number. Colorado, we know they can score. Their defense, Fajita should light them up too. Yeah, another there. Yeah, so more decisions on who to play. So I consolidate. So now I get, this is a game I like, and then I have to determine, well, who are we picking? And that's it's not tricky to the point. It's like, who am I going to lose on? I'm trying to avoid the loser and then pick the games I'm more sure about. But I've only got 25 that I like this week. Anyway, so that's another confusing one for me. Which way do I go? Not do I go, but which one? New Mexico, 2.5. Here you go. 77.5 to Utah State. I mean, this game should be 100. I mean, New Mexico, double offense, Dampier, good quarterback, no defense. Both these teams have 43 defenses. Are you fucking kidding me? Utah State, I know they're both over 43 defense. They both get 480 yards a game. And I know Utah State's played USC and New Mexico's played I think they played Boise or one of those type of teams. What are you going to do with 78 points or 77.5? You're going to go over 72? This should be a 100-point game. If it was in the 60s, this would have been the lock. If it was 70, this would be the lock. 78, you're really can I really lock a 78? I mean, it's such a big number. And yet it makes perfect sense that this is a low number. I mean, 78 over 72 with these teams. Unbelievable. San Jose State, 11.5, 52.5. To Wyoming. Wyoming sucks. They're a Z team. San Jose State's now an over team. They were an under, and then they started scoring. 26 defense. Wyoming 32 defense. San Jose State gets 344 a game. Wyoming only 250. So I like that over against the Z. I don't like the under against the Z. 11.5 could be a big number. Wyoming with the 32 defense. San Jose State should be able to score on them, but do they cover? Over under, it's hard to play a Z team because they're not going to score for you. So it's almost, you got to play San Jose State, but the over under of 52 might make it like, well, maybe over 46, but you're going to get all the points from San Jose State. So you might as well lay the 5.5. So this is the complexity of it. Texas A&M 18-56.5 to Old Mississippi State. This line was 14. Wow. So jump from 14 to, let's call it 17.5. 56 is still 56. I don't know what's going on there. A&M shows us a good team. They're an 18. Mississippi State's an over with a 33 defense. A&M with a 17. 400 yards for A&M. We saw them destroy Missouri, which I've never seen a team like that get destroyed like that. And Old Mississippi State played Georgia 41-31 last week. Are they getting a quarterback? Let's look at that one. Let's look at the like what the fuck happened there, right? Wegman came back, so he was out. Reed was the quarterback for A&M. They beat Arkansas 21-17, beat Bowling Green 26-20, and lost and beat Florida 33-20. Wegman comes back in and beats Missouri 41-10. They were off last week. I want to see Mississippi State. Martin Van Buren, of the Van Buren 5. Texas beat him 35-13, and then Georgia 41-31. He goes 20-37 for 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. Georgia's secondary's got me worried. Milrose lit him up, and here 3 touchdowns against Old Mississippi State. Van Buren, fuck. So they play a 48 with Texas. So Texas beats 35-13, Georgia 41-31. And here you got old Mississippi State against A&M, 17 defense, over under a 56. A&M beat Arkansas 21-17. They only beat Bowling Green 26-20. But again, the quarterback switch 41-10. And Old Mississippi State, they lose to Florida 45-28, 35-13 to Texas, 41-31 to Georgia. They lost to Toledo 41-17. They haven't beaten anybody. They beat Eastern Kentucky, which that's a high school team. They lost to Arizona State 30-20. So good schedule: Florida, Texas, Georgia, now A&M. Whew. And the funny part is the Toledo game, they lose 41-17. They're supposed to beat the MAC team. So they're giving up 40 points a game, Old Mississippi State. So if we go last 4, and that includes Toledo, 41, 35, 45, and a 30 if we include Arizona State. So see how the Eastern Kentucky game skews it. They won 56-7. Throw that out, and they're giving up, let's say, 37 a game. Well, I got them at 33, but let's say 37 to be nice. So I don't know where the 31 came against Georgia. But look at the Texas score, 35-13, a 48. And we're looking at, we haven't gotten to Texas. They play Georgia. They're next. Okay. Alabama, Tennessee is different. All right. LSU, Arkansas, a game for the Bobby of Bows. LSU 2.5, 57. Up from 55.5, I think, or 56.5. LSU an over team with the 22 defense. 450. They both get 450 a game. Arkansas, an A team. We saw them play at A&M pretty good with the other quarterback. A 19 defense. Again, I got a 56.5 over under. I mean, this is incredible. I got every over unders in the 50s. You're not going to stop LSU. I mean, fucking Mississippi couldn't, who has a pretty decent defense. I doubt Alabama. They're going to light up Alabama, and they're going to light up Georgia if they play both of them. Arkansas, on the other hand, they're an A team. Let's look at Arkansas. Who the hell have they played? We know LSU played USC and Tennessee and Ole Miss. Arkansas. Oh yeah, they beat Tennessee 19-14, and A&M they lost 21-17. Auburn they beat 24-14. 37-27 to UAB. They lost to Oak State 39-31. And then they beat Arkansas Pine Bluff 70-0. So we got to take that out of there. Yeah, well, the last couple of games have been Tennessee 19-14 and A&M they lost 21-17. Auburn, so they haven't, Tennessee, that's a very good win at home. They were a 14-point dog. Holy fuck! Here they're a 2.5-point dog, and they scored 17. So against pretty good defenses, A&M and Tennessee, they get about 20 points. Auburn 24. And they gave up 27 to UAB, 39 to Oak State in overtime, 21 to A&M, and then Tennessee and Auburn only 14 aren't really good offenses. Well, I don't know what Tennessee is now. So pretty good defense with Arkansas, but I don't think they're a 19. Close to it, though. 48, 24, 62, about 18. Yeah, about a 20 defense. So, but when you play LSU, Brian Kelly's too good of a coach, too good of an offense. They're going to score on you. And that leaves Arkansas. Who the fuck's Arkansas's quarterback? We know Newsheimer from LSU. It's T. Green. And he's not very good. Against UAB, 11-26. Against Auburn, 12-27. Against A&M, 23-41. And against Tennessee, 19-27. Doesn't throw a lot, but I think he runs. Let's take a look at our Arkansas. Where are they? 33-19, that's the total. Taylon Green, 5 touchdowns, 5 picks, 13 sacks, 250 yards passing, 200 yards rushing. And LSU is 18-6. See, here's the difference. Nussmeier is 18-6, and Taylon Green's 5-5. So we're going to get points from the offense. And LSU 332 through the air, 123 running, where Taylon Green is 250 throwing and 200 running. So they're a little more of a running team. Interesting. So I don't like this. Green's in again. He'll never keep up with LSU. They're going to have to run the ball a little bit more. Over under 56. LSU, not a great defense. What was that score last week? They beat Ole Miss 29-26. UCLA 34-17. They beat South Carolina 36-32. South Carolina's got a good offense until I bet them over, and then they didn't show up against Ole Miss. So 36 on South Carolina, 34 on UCLA, and then 29 on Ole Miss, and that was in overtime. So you got to believe they're going to get upper 20s to 30, which leaves you with Arkansas getting 20, and that covers our 50. Or, do I take Arkansas an 8.5? I don't know. Decisions. All right. Arkansas State, Southern Miss. Arkansas State 6.5, 55.5. Where are you? This is a battle of Z teams. Both teams are Z teams, both with 33 defenses. Arkansas State 329 yards. Southern Miss 208. What are you going to do with that? I think Arkansas State's better. They're favored by 6.5. Southern Miss is probably the worst team in college football. I think they're as bad as Kent. I don't know. Vandy and Ball State. What does Vandy do? Vandy lost to Georgia State and they beat Alabama. So you figure that one out. They beat Kentucky. Vanderbilt 26.5, 57.5. Pavia, we love them. They're up from 25.5 and 57.5. Ball State's an over team with, get this, a 46 defense. Vanderbilt, we know how good they are. I got them as a B team, but really they're probably an A team. But they score 24 defense, 58 total, 350 yards. Will Ball State score on them? This is the thing. So we look at Ball State. They beat Clark Kent 37-35. Western 45-42 beats James Madison 63-7. Central 37-34. Miami 62-0. I think we got our answer there. Vanderbilt beats Kentucky 2013. Alabama 40-35. Loses a tight one to a very good Missouri 30-27. How they lose to Georgia State, I can't tell you. And they beat Virginia Tech. So really, they lost to Georgia Southern in a tight one with Ole Miss, or they'd be in the playoff. They were up on Ole Miss, on Old Missouri, who's a very good team. And then they won it at the end for Missouri. So the last 5 games, 32, 27, 40, 20 on Kentucky, who's got a really good defense. But they gave up 36 to Georgia State, 30 to Missouri, and that. Do I want to lay 20 with Vanderbilt, or do I want to go over 52? And again, another 50 total. Did the computer not understand that you're supposed to change? You can't make every game 56, 57, but I'm loving it. So, all right. North Texas, Memphis. Now here's where the over should be: 68.5. Memphis 11.5. It was 68. It was 66, going up to 68. North Texas, very explosive team, 500 yards of offense. Memphis, very explosive team, 413 offense. I don't buy Memphis 16 defense. North Texas with the 33. A lot of it is who they play. I think this game gets over easily. North Texas is let's look at Memphis. I ain't buying what I don't smell what they're cooking. They beat South Florida 21-3. Okay, Middle Tennessee. Okay, again, they're playing Z teams. Against the Navy, they give up 56-44. Florida State, another team without a quarterback. Troy, another weak team. So they've beaten Troy with no offense, 38-17. Florida State with Uglia Buglia, 20-12. Give them credit for beating Florida State. But then look at the Navy, 56-44 Navy wins. Middle Tennessee with no offense, South Florida. See, now when you get into there is no fucking way this is a 16 defense. Statistically, yes, but look at who they played. The one team that's good is Navy and put up 56 on them. So this is where you really need to analyze get to the bottom of it. Here we go. Game of the week, Texas, 4.5, 56.5 to our Georgia team. What do we do with our Georgia team? How do we not take Georgia as a dog in this game? I mean, Texas is 4.5. We get Georgia in 10.5. Pro teams can't beat Georgia by 10.5, but we are noticing Georgia is you can pass on them and Texas can pass. So I see this being a higher scoring game because I think Beck looked good against Alabama, but now we got to question Alabama's how good their secondary is. I don't think Texas is going to shut out Georgia. I don't buy that. Georgia's too good. They've been in too many big games, too many games against Alabama and championship games to not show up. They're getting 4.5, 10.5 in Georgia. Like I said, they beat half the NFL, although their defense seems a little weaker. So I do see Texas lighting them up, and I see Georgia still lighting up Texas. Texas defense ain't that good. Oklahoma has no offense, so you can't really look at that. Michigan had no offense when they played them. So Georgia, Texas will score, and Georgia is going to give up points. So it's hard to play Georgia because their defense has been. They gave up 31 to Old Mississippi State, for Christ's sake. So Texas is going to score on our boys. The question is, how much do we score back? We will score what we did against Alabama. We're down to 33-0 to Alabama, and we came back and had the lead 34-33 with a minute and a half left in the game. So you're not going to kill Georgia. You gotta put the nail, stab them in the heart with the cross is the only way you can kill them. So this should be a very good game. But I think I think it's Ohio State, Oregon. I think we're going to see points. Yeah, I don't see how it isn't. Too good of a team, too good quarterbacks. Yeah. Iowa State, 13.5, 49.5 to UCF. Love Iowa State. 13.5 and 49.5. UCF, 470 yards a game, but Colorado killed them. Iowa State's been killing everybody since they beat Iowa. They're on a roll. Great coach. Love the coach. Rocco back. I saw a guy from Iowa State in Italy, and I go, Rocco back. Everything relates to college football. A guy with a Detroit Tigers T-shirt on at the beach and an Iowa State person. And, you connect with Rocco Beck, right? Only in football. 13.5. UCF can, move the ball, but not on Iowa. Iowa State with such a tough defense. So it's hard to go over here. UCF with the 24 defense, Iowa State with an 11. And you see Iowa scoring about 40 a game now, and they beat them, 20-19 or 19-17, something like that. Iowa State's a good team. I wouldn't bet against Iowa State. They're at home. K-State, West Virginia. K-State, 2.5, 55.5, always undervalued. They're a very strong team, very well coached. Them and Iowa State are probably the best two in the Big 12, now that Cam Rising doesn't play anymore. K-State's an A team. West Virginia's an over team, 26 defense. I like their quarterback, but the defense really doesn't show up. K-State beat Colorado last week, had that game over. I was really proud last week. I had the Ohio State, Oregon over, I had K-State, Colorado over, and the Texas, Oklahoma under, and they all came through for me. And then Boise at 6 a.m. Scores the last touchdown to cover for the lock. West Virginia, 26 defense, K-State with the 21. West Virginia, I don't know. They played Penn State, they got killed. They played some other teams, they got killed. They're just not, they don't have the defense for it. K-State plus 3.5, maybe the game's in West Virginia, or over another 55.5. I'm going to be playing like 25 games totals. They're all 55.5. Interesting game here. Iowa, 5.5, down from 6. Great running back. 39.5, down from 41. This is not an Iowa 35-point teaser anymore. They put up 40 on Washington. They lost to Ohio State 35-7, beat Minnesota 31-14. Has got a pretty good defense. They lost the Iowa State game 19-20. So throw out Troy, throw out Illinois State. You put up 40 on Washington and 31 on Minnesota, but only 7 on Ohio State. They really held the runner down, but that's Ohio State. You see Dylan Gabriel expose Ohio State. You need a kind of a really good quarterback who's kind of mobile, and Iowa doesn't have that. So that was a matchup, but against Washington, they pounded them. Now, the key I want to look at, does it give me an injury? Like, what the fuck's going on? Of course not. I want to see Michigan State here. What do I have with this team? They lose to Oregon 31-10. They lose to Ohio State 38-7. So they really don't have that good defense. They lose to BC 23-19 and beat Maryland 27-24. So they're giving up 30 points a game, not 21. So let's fix Michigan State. 31, 38, 23, and 24 is call it a 70, 95, 120 to Iowa. So it's a 30 defense. And here comes Iowa into town, and Iowa with an 18 defense. They really only struggle against Ohio State. They killed Washington. Yeah. Now, why did the line go down a little bit? I don't know, but it's tough because I can't get injuries, so I don't know. Is the quarterback okay? I hope he is. It seems like he is, or this spread would really drop. So all I can do is judge it on the line. So if the line was 6, went to 5.5, okay, that's not the quarterback being hurt. That's not the running back being hurt. Okay. Do I want see, State scored 10, 7, 19. They don't score a lot. I don't like Childs, their quarterback, very much. He's one of these athletes. Yeah, I'm surprised an athlete's playing football, but he's one of these dual, he can run. Yeah, but he can't throw. So I'm not going to trust Michigan State to stay in this game. And what I like is when you have a good running back like they have, that's what you want to bet on, because they can throw a little bit with McNamara, but they're going to run. And we saw Oregon and Ohio State run it down their throat. It just is better because the quarterback can be off and throw some interceptions. But if you got a good running back and a decent quarterback, which Iowa has, and a decent defense, it's really hard. I got Iowa with a 18 defense. Okay, Ohio State 35'd them, but generally they killed Washington. When you have a good defense and that you can run, that's that's why we locked Boise the last 2 weeks. We got that running back, Gentry, gets 200 yards a game. It's like, fuck, you're going to give him the ball. He doesn't throw interceptions, right? He's going to run it. One guy can't tackle him, and he goes 70 yards for touchdowns all game. Yeah, I probably want to bet on that guy. All right, Kentucky and Florida. I'm not sure why Kentucky's favored 1.5, 42.5. I think Florida was favored at first by 3, and it went Kentucky favored. Both get 300 yards. Both are under teams. 1.5, 42.5. I mean, you can't bet Kentucky over. That's not an option. They got the Georgia backup quarterback is their quarterback who runs a lot. He's not a really good passer. Good defense, 15 defense for Kentucky, a 24 for Florida, who's playing better. They look better against Tennessee, but is Tennessee all that? And that's where you really get misled. Oh, hey, look what they did against Tennessee, and then Alabama's going to light up Tennessee, and you're going to go, well, I guess Tennessee's really not that good, are they? So I don't know. Kentucky is a road favorite. It was easy last week taking Vanderbilt in 20. I get confused why I didn't lock that game. You got to be kidding me. But here they're 1.5. Florida looked good against Tennessee. I think Florida can make it a close game here. And again, I wouldn't touch the total. You can't play an over in Kentucky's game. Colorado State, 6.5, 44.5. Wow, this dropped from 47. Holy shit. Colorado State's an E team, been playing better. 30 defense. Our Air Force sucks. A Z team, 249. They didn't get the quarterback, and they're not moving the ball. They're not running it. 250 yards. So it's tough. It's kind of a rivalry game because Air Force is in Colorado, and State's in Colorado. Over under 44, but Air Force just doesn't score. both teams with 30 defenses. So Colorado State should be able to score some points here. SMU Stanford. Well, we saw what Stanford did with Notre Dame, 49-7. SMU 16.5, 53.5. Up from, well, there's a 15.5 still. We'll call it 16.5, 54. SMU beat Louisville at Louisville. Fuck. And then they beat, who did they beat? TCU or somebody. So they beat some really good teams. They've changed quarterbacks. Stone wasn't doing anything. They switched. They got a really good offensive coach in Lashley. Stanford sucks. They were getting better. They did win. They beat Syracuse somehow, and then now they suck. A W team, a 31 defense. SMU should go to town on them, I think. My Vegas, 6.5, 59.5. This is dropped from 61, another 50-point total. Oregon State, 26 defense, UNLV at 22. Both get 430 yards off offense. I like UNLV's quarterback and a very good defense. Oregon State got killed by Oregon's all I can really go by. I think there's another one. So hard to bet against Vegas, basically on the defense and this new quarterback. I love how the quarterback quits. He's not getting paid. He quits. He just walks off the team. Oh, fine. We got a backup who's better than you are. In our last game, Utah, somehow they're favored, 3.5, 49.5 to TCU. No Cam Rising. He's gone. Leg injury last week. He's out for the year. We don't have to worry. Is he playing? 3.5 TCU explosive team, 31 defense, 430 a game. Utah has the freshman quarterback who is Zach Wilson's brother. Freshman. He's been doing okay, but he's no Cam Rising. And it's TCU's an over team with the 31 defense. Utah's a B team with the 17. They got a great defense. Can't take that away from them. With Cam Rising, I said they were a playoff team. They were a top 4. But you haven't had him for 2 years now. It's so frustrating. He's such a good quarterback, and we love betting on good quarterbacks. So we've been unable to bet him. There are other guys okay, but he's not Cam Rising. So it's like, yeah, it's Joe Montana. Steve Young is okay, but he's no Joe Montana. So, TCU with the weak defense, good offense. But are you going to be able to get offense against Utah's defense? I look for Utah to run the ball. They have to change their game plan. They got good running backs. They've got a killer defense. So it makes it really bad. And then this is the 49.5 total, not the 50-something total. That concludes today's class. Pros we'll talk about. Well, I'll talk about tonight in class. And then, again, I got 4 locks in the pros and 4 other really strong plays. I bet half the card. It's, it's starting to come crystal clear. We see Jalen Daniels, good quarterback. We see Darnell, good quarterback. We know Joe Burrow. We see Deshaun Watson's quit. Basically, Cleveland's quit. We get revenge game with Cincinnati. That's your free play. Take Cincinnati -5 down to +1. Must-win game for Cincinnati. Back's been against the wall for a while. Cleveland just has given up. I don't know who they want. What do they want? Dylan Gabriel, maybe? Is that what they're tanking for? So we will see. Will Howard, Ohio State. Milrose. Milrose is a good quarterback. I was hard on him last year because of the Texas game when he threw 3 interceptions and the first play threw an interception, but he settled down. He's a good thrower and he's got moves that you just really are hard you can't tackle the guy. He's like Quentin Flowers was at South Florida. You couldn't tackle the guy. The guy would go 4th and 1 and he'd go around right tackle and the guy could never tackle. He would just do a move. And the guy gets here, and he got the first down every freaking time. He was a good quarterback, but I think Milrose is okay. We'll look at quarterbacks later. So that's it. I got a 130. It's 12 o'clock. Need a little studying for that. Let's look at our gold. Did we hit 2,800 yet? I hope so. Gold is at 27.16. What a happy day. Oh, and silver's 32.70. Silver, what do we need on silver? 32.50, I think. Are we going to run up to 38? Now that Russians buying, it ain't dropping. 27.16. Russia's doing their fair share. See, now, since we're 5 steps ahead and we've been buying for the last 3 years, I don't feel really, if I get this job, then I'll go buy more gold. But really, I don't feel, I feel comfortable like I bought a lot and, now my money's a little bit tighter. So I'm like, I'm satisfied what I bought. And then and now silver. And the difference is you got about 50, 60, 70 ounces of gold. So every 100 it goes up, you make 5, 6, 7,000. Nice little return. But with silver, we easily got 500 to 1,000 ounces. So when it goes up $100, you're making 50 grand a shot. So if you got 500 ounces of silver, which is nothing, and it goes up $100, so this goes from 32 to 100 times 500. That's $50,000 or $500,000. I think it's more. I wrote it down somewhere. 1,000 ounces, it goes up $100 is $100,000. So if you have 500, it's $50,000. So when this silver hits 100 and you got 500 ounces, and I know Luke's got a lot more, but if you got 1,000 ounces and it goes up, that's 100 grand. That's the difference in silver and gold. You can buy many more ounces. Now, silver hasn't gone 100 like gold has. 2,400, 2,500, 26. Now it's 27. It's going to be 3,000 soon. And, so you're making 5, 6, 7 grand every 100. But when silver starts moving, goes from 100 to 200, and you make $50,000. Yeah, that's really the key to it. That's why you go buy as much silver, even though it's not moving now. The Russians, though, are buying it. So there was a quick, I won't show you the video. I'll just show you the title. No, I can't show you the title. Where's my... Putin's plan for silver. And it's nothing more than Putin saying, hey, we're going to buy silver because it's money also. And gold's getting so fucking expensive and we can buy it for $32, $33 an ounce. And we're Russia. We'll just print money and buy tons and tons of silver. And there's not a lot to buy. So that's the big Putin going to buy silver, which, like I'm sure he has. China's bought a ton. India's bought a ton. Saudi Arabia's bought a ton. They need it for the solar, but it's money. That's the other part of the equation. So look for silver to finally move. They've been holding it down for the Tomahawk missiles and the solar panels, but now it's the bye-bye blues. Now it's money also. And JP Morgan's been holding the price down, which makes no sense. Heavy inflation. How is the price not going up? So look for silver. Try to get to 500 ounces. I had 37 ounces, basically Highland Mint coins, and they all say 999 silver. So they're real silver, but they got Joe Montana on it or Emmett Smith or Barry Sanders. So they're worth a lot more than just the $30. And now I'm over 500. I think I'm over 600. I just kept buying 20 here and 20 there. It was $200. I'd go for gold. And, there was a period I said, I got enough gold. Let's buy silver. And then it turned back and I said, something happened. I said, no, I got to buy more gold. So I've been buying a lot of gold, and I haven't bought silver in a while, but it's well north of 500. And if I get the job, I'll try to get it to 1,000 ounces, because when it runs, it's going to go. And the thing is, they think it's volatile. It's not volatile at all. It's the derivatives. If you get rid of the derivatives, gold and silver are not volatile at all, because you need them. Fix these glasses. You need them as money. So why did they go down? Nobody's selling gold and silver. It's the derivatives. It's the paper. So when Luke tells me his dad's buying stocks, I really don't want him in the dollar. You're still in the Titanic. The Titanic thinking you need physical. And so I don't know. His dad's sleeping well because gold and silver is going up, but he's not making it only if the stocks go up. And if the stocks don't go up because nobody's buying stock except for Amazon and Apple, you're not really doing anything. So he's got to be careful there. So I advise you to buy the physical metal, the coins, or the bars, not the stocks, not the ETFs, and certainly not the IRAs where you can't hold it. You want to have that gold in your hand. You don't want it to be digital. You don't want it to be in somebody else's hands in an IRA or in an ETF, which is a Ponzi scheme. That Eric Sprout should be in jail for Ponzi scheming, just like Madoff went to jail. So should Sprott. So should Rick Rude. These guys are just criminals and need to pay it. So don't pay attention to them. Just go to the store, buy physical, put it in your safe, and say thank you very much. Anyway, that's what's going on. I did watch Mark McGuire. I'll come back later with Mark McGuire. He does talk about the BRICS meeting, and and silver is about to break out, is what he's basically the two keys. But we'll watch the BRICS stuff. But it's all good. Anyway, so that's it. A whole lot of college football. And I really haven't. I mean, the Georgia Tech game really stuck out. I'm really wow, that's a good game. But we got the Georgia game, the Alabama game. How good a defense is Tennessee. Tonight you got Oregon, Purdue, Oak State, BYU, Fresno State, Nevada. Then tomorrow it's Army, it's Indy, it's UCLA, it's Cincinnati, it's Clemson, it's Missouri, Miami and Louisville, Wisconsin, Northwestern, Oklahoma. I mean, there's a ton of games. And we're at the point now we can figure them out because we can see them against good competition going, oh, wait, yeah, they're really not this number, because that includes the two high school games. So we can start filtering them out and see them against 3 or 4 division games. This is when we're the most lethal, because now we're not going to get surprised that, I thought this was a good offense, and then they don't score. Now, no, we see Tennessee is not that explosive, and that's the blind side when Ole Miss and Tennessee puts up a 70 against a high school team. I'm going to bet them over. They're really good. And then you see them against Tennessee, against Florida or Kentucky, and they're going, oh, fuck, they can't. They're not a real strong team. The quarterback, who was really good, is not really good. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm sensing Alabama. Yeah, they're gonna light them up. But the question is, how Tennessee is not that, it's not a terrible team. So this will be, I think Tennessee has to pull out all the stops. They realize they're playing Alabama, and they're going to have to put up some points too. So that's what we got. So anyway, pros we'll look at tomorrow. Just no time. I got an hour. Free play, Cincinnati, even against Cleveland. Free play is the Georgia Tech getting 17-18 against Notre Dame. And yes, you got to sometimes have the balls to bet against the Notre Dame. And I feel Georgia Tech has the balls to do it. King, I like. The coach, I like. They're not intimidated. They're at home. And I wouldn't be surprised if they win the game. Northern Illinois Junior here. So there you go. Gold on its way to 3,000. Silver on its way to 100. And I'm not like making it up, and I'm not guessing, and I'm not, oh, it's my opinion. This is not. This is like football. These aren't my opinions. This is looking at the stats and looking at the numbers and deriving the conclusions. And that's, nobody thought gold would hit 2,700, except for I kept saying, yes, it will. It will hit 3,000. And that is not a guess. That's not an opinion. That's what's going to happen. Why? Because I understand economics, and I understand the demand pushes prices up, and it finally killing the stupid paper market. You go to a physical market, there's too much demand for gold because the dollar is going to zero. We understand it. That's the game. That's what will happen. So anyway, go buy your gold and silver because you're not going to be able to afford it soon. Well, let's put it this way. If you have $10,000, like I said, I bought 8 ounces a couple years ago. Now I can buy 3 because at 2,700 means it's 28 and a half spot at the store. And 28 and a half is about 3.5 ounces, not 8. And so that's what eventually it goes to 2. It'll $5,000. You'll buy 2 ounces, then 1 ounce. And then the money won't be worth anything. So you can't buy the gold anyway. And then you'll have silver to try to buy the gold. Look for silver to get 10-1 to gold. And believe me, Putin's not an idiot. He sees the price. He sees the disjointed price. And he's backing the truck up. Can we load this truck with a bunch of silver bars, please, at $32 an ounce for something that's $500, $1,000 an ounce? So it's just common sense. All right, everybody. Well, have a real good day. www.teaserking.com. The picks are out there for college, for pros. College will be out there soon. We have $100 for the week for everything, $300 for the month. If you want the class, college will be tonight, 7 to 8, and I'll do a private class on YouTube, and pros will be after that, 8:10 to about 8:30 will be the college class, and will be the pro class. I'm sorry, about a half hour for the pro class. And we just go through what I did, but only I fill in the blanks. Well, this is how I see the game, the score, and here's my picks, and here's my locks. I don't know how many locks I'm going to have in college. But again, I had to take a day off flying and recouping, so I'm ready today. So after the interview, I will be posted. Interviews 1:30 to 2:30. They fucked it up because on the invite it says 7:30 to 8:30, but then when you read in the body, it's from 1:30 to 2:30. So I asked them, well, because I was surprised 7:30. Anyway, so I normally do well in interviews because I talk about myself of what I've done. I don't lie, so it's all, I did this and I did that and this and that. And very confident, mostly because of this. If you ever have a problem talking in public, do this. Just do a live chat about whatever you want. Chocolate chip cookies, Coca-Cola, football. And that'll help you have the confidence to then, if I had to go in front of a large audience and talk gold or football, wouldn't be a problem. Before, I'd be a little shy to do it. Not now. It'd be a piece of cake. And so it gives you confidence, and it gives you, you get comfortable. And I think the biggest thing in life is comfortable. It's like meeting a new girl. You're not comfortable with her. And then as you get to know her better and everything, you start getting comfortable, know what she likes. She knows what you like. You're comfortable. And that's how it works. So really what you're trying to do is get comfort. So when I get these new picks, I'm trying to get comfortable with what am I doing here? Which games do I like? All right, everybody, www.teaserking.com. If you want to sign up for the classes, go to Teaserking, or you can Venmo me, is fine. To my email, which you can get on www.teaserking.com. And Otherwise, just buy the picks and you'll get the password and you'll go into the picks and go make some money to buy some gold before it gets too high. All right. Have a good day. I'll probably be on later. Well, I know I'll be on for the class, but I have the interview. Then I'll probably go to the pool and then maybe come back for a little economics until the 7 o'clock class. All right, everybody. Have a good day. www.teaserking.com. Good luck. Make your money. Go buy your silver now as much as you can eat. All right. Ciao.